phone case?
You're live now.
Hey! Shalom, it's Tanya. I'm with the Tree of Life Bible Society, you know, the Tree of Life version of the Bible. And we're here enjoying the fact that we have another week to celebrate the Parsha. This, by the way, is the eve of Greenberg Love Day. What does that mean? It means that tomorrow is the anniversary of me and my husband being married 27 years. And these are the beautiful roses that he got me. And this is a beautiful clock that Pastor Jack gave me as a thank you. Pastor Jack Hayford. And I wanted you to see it because it's amazing to me how important what happens this week in the Parsha is with everything that we talk about this week with the children. This is the week that the 10 Commandments were given to the children of Israel through the hand of Moses from God himself. And this is a picture that Rembrandt did of it. This was done the year before I was born. This was done in '64. And it's wonderful to think that Time magazine felt like the Bible was important enough to do a magazine issue about back before I was even born. I wonder if they would do how many Bible covers they've done since then. That would be fun to find out. But anyway, this week's Parsha is exciting because this is like a primer for walking with God. If you remember, last week, this is now Parsha Yitro. That's Hebrew for Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, who was one of the priests of the tribe of Midian. And when he came and met with Moses, after Moses had been used by God to deliver the children of Israel through the Reed Sea to the other side, and were free from the Egyptians, and the Egyptian chariots got decimated, what ended up happening was that Jethro watched Moses caring for the people and giving wise counsel, and that's when Moses took Jethro's advice and appointed the 70 elders. And then God met with those 70 elders on top of the mountain. It's actually called a theophany, which means a sighting of God in the scriptures. In some type of form that is seen by our senses. The theophany at Sinai is in chapter 12, and it goes on to, this is called the 10 words. We often recognize those as the 10 commandments. So that's why I'm showing you pictures of the 10 commandments. And that's the Cecil B. DeMille's show that we all know about the 10 commandments. And in children's Bibles, they will show you that the 10 commandments were given here. The 10 commandments were given, but while Moses was getting the 10 commandments in 40 days and 40 nights, the people had already sinned against God and created an idol. It's fascinating to let the children know that while God was meeting with Moses on the top of this fiery mountain, that he was actually telling Moses, what the children of Israel are doing is making me angry. If you go back and read the story for yourself, it's very important to understand the way the story unfolds, because when he addresses his brother Aaron, who helped forge the idol, I believe what he says is that the calf jumped from the flames. He doesn't even take full credit for doing it. It's that he felt as if it was beyond him that it was being done. But that caused him to take the tablets and crash them. So when you go and look up pictures of Moses in the Bible, on the internet and other places, you'll often see him destroying them. And then there's actually people that don't know that God went ahead and recreated them. He went back up, and this time he came down with the 10 commandments. And the same commandments, but this time the people had to agree to obey them. And that's what we call the covenant of the Mosaic covenant. So the story this week that we wanted to share with you, I just feel like it's so important to understand that the reason that we believe in the government that we live by here is because it's based on the 10 commandments. Simple things that we should all agree about, like not lying and not stealing and not killing each other and not following and not stealing one another's things and coveting each other's blessings. Those things seem like they seem like no-brainers. Like you'd hate to live in a country where people could just walk up and take your bike and walk away with it. But think about what that would mean if that wasn't the law of the land. So the 10 Commandments, I actually put them in the lesson. And so to go over the 10 Commandments with the kids, I have, of course, there's the one here with the puzzles and the crosswords for your kids that are thinky thinkertons and ones who like to do puzzles and games. They like this bulletin. But those of us that are right-brained and we like to draw, I wanted to make sure that we did one for the children. But this time around, while I have the adult ones here, the actual writing in the TLV Bible of the 10 Commandments, this one's a little bit simpler because we want kids to learn them. And kids don't understand things like the word adultery. So what we wrote was, I did a little bit of research about what might be acceptable. And we went with only one God. It says worship God, He's God alone. Then no idols, honor His name, keep the Sabbath holy. I've got his hand on that one because I'm hoping that you can ask the kids because you use these at Shabbat school and services. So you're already celebrating Shabbat when you're looking at them. But this is so that you can ask. I put his hand over that purposely so that the kids would say, what does that one say? And that way you could tell them about Shabbat. And then underneath this one here says, honor your mom and dad. Now this is the only one that has a blessing. So I made sure to write, I had room at the bottom of that, so I wrote it. Honor your mom and dad so that you will live a long life. It's important for children to know that honoring their mom and dad has a blessing associated with it. Then there's do not kill people. Honor your spouse. That's a very nice way to tell children to take care of the person they're married to and to not bother anybody that they're not married to. And then do not steal, do not lie, and do not crave other people's things. I didn't want to say crave other people's people because I figured that you'd handle that in class if anybody asked, because we don't keep other people as our people anymore. We don't do things like that. We don't believe in slavery. So this is a simple way to talk to the children about it. This is the biblical exact commandments. But then I wanted to do something really special. You know that we've been studying the book of Matthew, the footsteps of Yeshua, while we're studying Genesis. So it's, God does these things so beautifully. He orchestrates His word so beautifully. So since we're now at the point of, so remember last week he chose His disciples, the fishers of men. The week before that was when He arrived on the scene and was mikvahd by who people call John the Baptist. We know his cousin, right? John. And then but now the week that lines up this week is called the Drash on the Mountain. Tanya, what's a drash? Why would a drash on the Mountain? You know it as the Sermon on the Mount. Doesn't that sound familiar? The Sermon on the Mount in the book of Matthew. So the Sermon on the Mount, right here in your Bibles, in these Bibles, I've got this one open up to the Old Covenant, this one's open up to the New, same Bible, same text. Same text. This one's got artwork in it and it's a family size. This one is your personal handheld side that Baker publishes. But in here you'll notice that just like the first teaching that Moses does of the people is 10 laws, 10 commandments that are the basis of what we believe. Did it ever click in your mind that the first teaching that's ever recorded by Yeshua is 10 blessings? They're called the Beatitudes. But Beatitudes. 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 The attitude you should be. The way you should be. The way you should think about the things of God. Because laws, without them being manifest in your heart, just laws of what, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. It's really hard to follow those when you don't really understand the heart of the God that gave the laws. But when Yeshua is in our midst, He's trying to teach us how to obey these laws by remembering the blessings of obedience. So I'm going to read those to you real quick because there's 10 of those. And this lesson is called 10 by 10 for holiness because you need the 10 commandments, but you also need the Sermon on the Mount. And the Sermon on the Mount is right in the lesson. See that at the bottom? Yeshua's Beatitudes, the blessings. So the blessings are, and I'm just going to read the blessings because they're so beautiful. So just like we read the 10 commandments, read with the children the 10 blessings. And I love the fact that God gives us 10 because we got 10. Did you ever think about that? We have 10 fingers for 10 commandments. We have 10 toes to walk like Yeshua. 10 fingers, right, to follow the commands of God, and 10 toes to follow the footsteps of Messiah. While you're saying that, I'm wiggling my toes like you can see it on camera. That's so silly. But let me read them to you. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be satisfied. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall be shown mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God. Blessed are those who have been persecuted for the sake of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when people revile you and persecute you and say all kinds of evil against you falsely on account of me. Rejoice and be glad, for your reward in heaven is great, for in the same way they persecuted the prophets who were before you. So if you think about it this way, just like the do not, remember this. The kingdom of heaven will be yours. You will be comforted. We will inherit the earth. We will be satisfied. He will show us mercy. We will see God. We will be called sons of God. We will have a kingdom of heaven. We will be blessed even though they persecute us. And rejoicing and being glad is our inheritance. We obey not just because we have to. We obey because we love the God that cares for us. So try to be sure to teach the children that following the Bible isn't just about rules. Following the Bible is about love and about building a community that reflects the love and the power and the presence of God. Have a really great week. Bye.